Hello everyone, thanks for taking the time to watch this video, or at least click on it, and I'll thank you at the end if you stick around. I'm calling this my pick three, okay? So I'm going to take three different things that are seemingly unrelated, and I'm going to try to tie them all together at the end, okay? Now, the first one is Eureka, then the con man, and faith versus fact, okay? Now, Eureka. Eureka comes from the Greek word, I believe is the Greek word I found it. All right, now, the story comes from, we know the word Eureka because a famous inventor called Archimedes was trying to figure out how he was going to measure a volume of water. And one day he's taking a bath, and as he lowers himself into the bathtub, he notices something that clicks in his mind, and he figures out how he's going to measure this thing, the volume of water. He jumps out of the bathtub, starts running down the streets of the city, yelling, "Eureka! Eureka!" Now this is, around 300 BC. He's completely naked, running down the streets, yelling. He's all excited, okay? He doesn't even, really realize that he's completely naked, or he doesn't even care. Okay, he's so excited. All right? So that's my story of Eureka. Now, scientists work long and hard on different theories to try to prove them, and they were running all these different tests and things like that. And when you finally have this breakthrough moment where they finally say, "Wow, we finally discovered this, how this works," or whatever it may be, you have this huge, Eureka moment where you have, in the newspapers and the headlines, the TV and everything like that, they're just all, exclaiming the news, okay? We found life on Mars, whatever it may be, all right? So I'm going to leave that and go on to the next thing. The con man. Now, the con man is short for confidence man. He, gets your confidence. Usually a con man is someone who is trying to make money off of you. He's running a scam of some kind. And what he's going to do is he wants to get you to essentially agree to something without you thinking about it too much. He's got a great pitch. He's going to make it sound fantastic. And I'm sure you've seen a bunch of con movies and stuff like that. Just think of a con man and the ways that, a con man manipulates the story and his pitch so that you're not asking questions. You think that all your questions have been answered. And if you do ask questions, he really has to dismiss those questions, or he or she has to dismiss those questions so that you feel kind of stupid asking other questions. And it's all about this, kind of balancing this, ridicule or feeling ashamed if you have to ask a question or something like that, or just like, what are you, stupid or something like that? It's obvious, why do I have to explain this to you? So the con man does his job very well by getting you to accept something that appears to be true, but is, if you dive too deep into it, he can't allow that. So he's got to shut that down right away. All right? I'm going to leave that over to the side here, and I'm going to move on to my next thing. Faith versus fact, okay? Now, faith, I believe you could kind of put it into this term, okay? Or these terms. Faith is, I believe this to be true because of my experiences, okay? Now, fact would be, a term like this. I believe this to be true because of my experiments, okay? Now, when we take something that we can't really prove, take any kind of religion, for instance, there's not really any kind of religion that you can fully prove. Like, how can you prove that God exists? There's no way to measure that. There's no way to actually prove that God exists. You can take your experiences and you can say, I believe this based on what I've experienced, okay? But you can't prove it. On the other end, there's some things that we can prove. And we can run experiments, we can do all this investigation into it, and eventually, after a lot of effort, we can say, we have proven this, and that becomes a fact, all right? Now, there's this huge gray area in the middle where we just kind of assign things to be fact that we haven't actually proven. And, whether it's, things of religion that we just say, oh yeah, this is a fact. You'll see people going around, saying, there's no way to deny that God has, made the earth. There's plenty of ways to deny that. You can't prove it, okay? Just accept that you can't prove it, and accept that it's something that is faith-based. And then there's other things that, people on the other side, the scientific community, this is a fact. but you haven't proven it yet. Accept that it's not yet a fact. Don't call it a fact and say, hey, we're still working on it. You know, you can. It's still yet left to be proven or disproven. All right. Now, I'm going to tie this all in with a kind of a political subject, and I hate to do this, but we're going to dive right in here. Things like global warming or climate change is what they're calling it these days, or the whole, and honestly this is what sparked me off, the whole gender spectrum thing. Instead of gender being binary, you know, man, woman, it's you're kind of on a spectrum of things. Now, what you'll notice is scientists will say, we've come to believe this about this. And because they're scientists, you say, oh, well, they're smart people, they're scientists, they go through a scientific process of proving and disproving things, so they must be right. But they've come to believe this. Notice there is no Eureka moment where they're like, we've proven it, we've finally figured this out, this is, you know, this is groundbreaking. You know, you don't see any, you know, scientists running around the streets naked yelling Eureka. So, you know, what you have is, you know, the scientific community is just saying, we've come to believe that this is true. And here's the con man part. If you doubt them, then you're stupid. You're a climate denier or whatever it may be. You're stupid. You can't ask questions. Just accept it and move on, they say. No. Hey, let's, you know, it's not proven yet. You know, we're going to continue to dive in and question this until it's proven. And if you say it's fact already before it's been proven, then you've got to give all the ways that you've proven that it's a fact. All right? And then this is where, again, the scientists are saying, we've come to believe that this is not because of experiments they've done, not because of genetics or of you know, having all of this data on the climate or whatever it may be, okay? And again, you can probably deduce where I stand politically, but, you know, you'll see other videos that I'm sure will kind of go against the other side politically, you know, versus left versus right. I don't like to be associated with either one. I just like to be a skeptic. All right. But again, we say scientists have come to believe. All right. I keep coming back to that because they're using the term belief instead of they've proven this. You know, instead of having a Eureka moment, instead of being willing to sit down and explain how they've proven this. Okay. You know, notice the difference between a con man and a teacher. You know, a teacher loves questions, you know? Someone who's going to ask questions and really, you know, engage. Someone who asks questions cares about the truth. A con man hates questions. He's going to shut them down as fast as possible unless you're asking very shallow, easy questions that he can answer. Like, what can we do about this? No, you're assuming that it's already true. A con man would love, you know, okay, what can I do about this opportunity? That was just like, okay, I'm sorry. That was just, it's a little frustrating with all of this. So anyways, the bottom line is questions are good, you know, and you've got to maintain your integrity with this kind of thing. If you can't prove something, say, I believe this to be true. I can't prove it to you. Based on my experiences, I can tell you about my experiences and everything, you know, my belief about human nature. This is what I believe to be true. But you don't say it's a fact. And if you have a fact, narrow it down and be ready with things that back it up. Now, all of this that I have just shared with you has all been what I believe to be true, okay? Don't get me started on relative truth. That's an oxymoron statement, you know, oxymoronical statement. You know, relative truth, you know, truth is always truth, okay? You know, relative, you know, no, there's no such thing as relative truth. That's a completely contradictory statement, okay? Our understanding of truth may be what's relative, but truth is always there. All right, so I'm going to end this with just saying the unexamined life is not worth living. Keep asking questions, keep digging, and if you find something, yell Eureka, and, you know, go running down the streets with clothes on, yelling Eureka, and explaining what you've discovered. Thanks so much for watching the video, and take care.